See, one of the other things I noticed about parking lot videos, they got some kind of lighting set up, or they're in, parking garages that are well lit, and yet people complain at me because you're not showing enough light on your head. Why don't you try listening to the words I'm saying instead of focusing on the picture? One of the reasons when I started this out, I had the big mask on was because I felt it was more important to hear the message than to concentrate on the messenger. But sadly, that's not the case anymore. I've seen more skin being shown. I'll put it to you this way: it's not an insane amount, but there's enough to basically drive Amish children wild, or Amish boys wild, um, running around out there on the various channels because it sells. You gotta love the reaction video where somebody's sitting there, with things about to fall out on their lap, and or for some crazy reason they felt it necessary to stick their, stick various other limbs up into the picture. Like, I don't know about you, but I can't think of anyone who's comfortable sitting that way. But okay, especially when facing a camera. But uh, Russell T Davies was talking to one of the press things the other day, and someone asked him about. He said something about classic monsters not having to come back yet, and that this is a new doctor, and he wants them to face new threats, new monsters, and new threats. And I'm like, somebody tried that a couple of years ago, and then everybody threw a fit because they misinterpreted the data. When the Chibs came in, he said said that there would be no classic monsters in the next series. And for some reason, everybody thought that meant his entire run. And sure enough, in his first series, with Jodie Whittaker, there were no classic monsters within the first few episodes. And guess what happened? They crucified him. Well, then again, he was already up there on the hill, about to go up on there anyway, because how dare ye, bring in a female doctor? A lot of people are acting the same way about Russell T Davies because, oh my God, he's hired a black gay man. He's running the show. It's too progressive. It's too diversity. Diversity. I learned that word in the dictionary today. Diversity. Oh, goodness gracious. And I'm hearing some good things, from the various reviews. Fortunately, and a lot of people, how come someone did ask the other day, well, how come all of a sudden these guys got these? Well, you got to watch the media. The reason why they were able to do that is because they had a screening. And there were some very familiar faces brought to that screening. Like I said, and I've already talked enough about the one person who was there who'd been bad-mouthing the show during the entire Chibnall Whittaker run because their participation was no longer required. And they're acting like it was their fault that, they got shit canned, and that was a BBC decision to, go in that route. Now, at least we're getting, the Doctor Who Unleashed thing, which a lot of people have been wanting something like Confidential back for years. And sadly, it got left by the wayside a while back, and now it's, with Doctor Who Unleashed, it's kind of, we'll have to see how it really goes. But it's, from what I hear, it's good. I haven't watched it yet myself, so. Yeah, I sat there and I used one of my anonymous whatever thing, because I hate to admit it, but every now and then I like to peek in to see what these, idiots are saying, but I'm not peeking in under my account name. And no, I do not use anything like that to troll people. Nope. I just like to have a little incognito look at what's going on. but I'm not giving views to somebody like, Narcotic and them other guys. No. And you gotta love this. The show's too progressive, and I keep hammering this away because maybe if I say it enough, it'll, you guys will carry it on and pass it on to the community. It's completely moronic that these people are complaining about a show that's too woke and too progressive. That, let me see, had the first full-time female producer in charge of it when it first started. The first director was not only gay, but he was a foreigner, and the guy who actually came up with it technically was a foreigner. He was from Canada. And yet they're going on about diversity, wokeness, and all this. And then, well, my other favorite one is, of course, white men are corporate fascist villains and all that. And I'm like, there's been corporate fascist villains going all the way back to the first Doctor. And okay, the Indiana Jones. I have not watched the last Indiana Jones movie. I don't know. There's a part of me that's saying don't do it. As much as a lot of people like and respect Phoebe Waller-Bridge for the work she's done, I don't know. There's just a part of me saying this. I kind of want to leave it at I liked like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but there were a bunch of things in it that were not good, and people are always making fun of that movie. I'm like, guys, don't matter. It had John Hurt in it. Anything John Hurt's in, I watch it over and over again. But like I said, that's the movie that Shia LaBeouf pretty much cut his own throat, tied his own noose and all that. And it wasn't because the movie did badly and all that. It's because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. He pissed off a couple of top guys in Hollywood. It's like, for one, if you get a movie role and they tell you, look, we're going to release this at a time later, don't give it out. They were holding the title in for a reason, and then a couple months before the title's going to be announced, he's out there at some award show, boom, right there to all the media. And then, later on, he's, in public saying the movie sucks and blah, blah, this. Yeah, dude, it's okay to have an opinion, but don't piss off two of the top guys in Hollywood, Spielberg and Lucas. Because how many lead roles has he had since then? How many movies that you actually remember that you've seen Shia LaBeouf in since then? Don't rack your brain, because I don't think there are any. No, Kathleen Kennedy didn't have anything to do with that. No, this was, he pissed off Spielberg and Lucas. It's like, for one, you've been entrusted with a confidential piece of information. They're going to release at a press junket later, and you decided you were a spokesman for the movie, and then you go on and badmouth the movie you're in. Well, no, the Transformers movie, I think, was around the time this happened. He wasn't in anything after a certain point, remember? They went to a different set of characters. Then again, I'm way behind on those. I think it was after I watched the one in Hot Rod. Like I said, I've got nothing against the UK. I've got nothing against the British. But when you take a character name and give it just randomly to a character that's nothing like the one you've seen before, just for the sake of having that character there, well, don't worry. I heard he's apologized and all that, and he has got a couple projects going, so he'll recover. Okay, so once again, the press gang, I guess we're going through California right now. I know as of yesterday they were there. There's a nice snap of Shooty and Millie Gibson, in L.A. Millie is on a mission to wear as less as she can get away with. But I don't look at these things. I am a married man. I merely critique her on her acting style and appreciate her form and from what I've seen of these pictures so far, I gave her a standing ovation. All right. Yeah, but remember, Nardi said, RTD came back. Imagine what's going to happen when George Lucas comes back. Trust me, he's a sad, broken individual. You don't want him back. He's one of the ones who complained about the Star Wars sequels. He didn't like them, if I remember correctly. Even though they're claiming it, the basic thing they used, the premise they used, was one that was his. And I'm like, yes, show me some written proof of that bullshit. Where he turned Luke Skywalker into a backstabber. That's one thing I'll never forgive the sequels for, ever. That one scene, pretty much sealed their fate for me. And did we ever even really get an explanation of what the Knights of Ren were? Maybe I missed it. Maybe I have to go back and rewatch those. Because Kylo Ren surely wasn't a Sith Lord. He didn't even qualify. I'll put it to you this way. Chopper the droid from Rebels had a better chance of being a Sith Lord than Kylo Ren. Ugh, he was just a whiny, pissed off, entitled little brat with a grandfather complex. Granddaddy, I'm wearing a shiny black helmet. How come they don't fear me? Yep, that's, like I said, that's why I can't enjoy the sequels because of what they did to Luke Skywalker in the sequels. And now they're basically, like I said, from what I'm seeing of what they're going to do with Rey, they're going to basically do with Rey what they should have done with Luke. They're going to reestablish the Jedi Order and everything's going to be hunky-dunky. Yet, they screwed his character over so bad. Well, folks, I got to get going. I've got to run inside, so take care, everybody. Please be kind, be calm, and safe. Be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your days. And we'll see you all on the flip side. So take care, everyone. Enjoy your Tuesday.